What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with another video. Now it's time for the first Smackdown of July, and with Money in the Bank behind us, there's sure to be some fireworks on today's edition of the Blue Brand. Join us now as we look at the 23rd July edition of Smackdown, as well as the wildest wrestling news stories and rumors you need to know, including WWE announcing a new pay-per-view, CM Punk is 100% for Chicago, John Cena's secret wrestling match, does WWE want CM Punk back, and much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. As always, we won't recap the show, but just provide you with the good, the bad, and the downright ugly. As always, we start off with the good as number 1, John Cena on Smackdown. Cena may have been busy in Hollywood, but his appearance on Smackdown served as a reminder he hasn't forgotten his wrestling roots, nor is he going to phone in his appearances during his limited run in the WWE. Cena's challenge to Universal Champion Roman Reigns was well done, with the face that runs the place knowing which buttons to press to get a solid reaction from the fans. Cena did his best not to turn off Roman Reigns fans, admitting the fans could cheer and boo whomever they want. Cena could have taken the Goldberg route and made 1 or 2 appearances before wrestling at SummerSlam, but it appears he's taking advantage of his small window of opportunity to spend as much time with the WWE Universe as possible. Number 2, Finn Balor dominates. Now, until last week, Finn Balor hadn't been in a SmackDown ring in nearly 2 years, so perhaps that's why he was ready to remind the fans what they've been missing since the Prince headed to NXT. Balor's bout against Sami Zayn was the right way to show Balor still has it. Having Balor challenge Roman Reigns at the end of SmackDown was a fantastic surprise that should have had fans talking while they wait for the inevitable announcement of Cena vs Reigns at SummerSlam. We can't wait for Balor vs Reigns, a pay-per-view level match that'll more likely be available on free television. Number 3, Smackdown is a star-studded show. While watching last night's Smackdown, it was impossible not to notice the sheer amount of star power on the Blue Brand. First, there are main eventers such as Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, Edge, and John Cena. Second are the uppercard stars such as Rey Mysterio, Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, Bianca Belair, Sasha Banks, Bayley, Baron Corbin, Finn Balor, and Big E. The Blue Brand's mid-card roster is impressive as well, but where things really shine is how the WWE uses all of its stars on SmackDown to create a consistently excellent show. Fox must be thrilled with the number of stars that WWE has put on its Friday night program. As for the USA Network, they're probably more concerned with the weak booking on what used to be the WWE's flagship show. Number 4, Toni's terrific debut. A kudos to the WWE for the excellent job they've done with Toni Storm so far, not only heralding her debut with hype videos, but giving her a chance to impress the fans in her debut match. The WWE Universe knows better than to take a wrestler's debut and give it much weight, whether it's a win like Storm's match against Zelina Vega or Karrion Kross's surprise loss to Jeff Hardy on this week's Raw, but Storm is off to a good start. Number 4, a fiery feud. A Seth vs Edge is going to be fire. There's no getting around it that the WWE has been slowly simmering the heat between the two men, finally bringing it to a boil at Money in the Bank. Last night's showdown was another well-booked step in the program between the two, with Rollins even recalling the time it could have ended Edge's career back in 2014. This was the time that Seth threatened to snap Edge's neck unless John Cena agreed to let the authority come back. The WWE's mention of their past history was a clever way to add more heat to the feud and to show that Rollins has a long memory when it comes to slights. Edge added to the trip down memory lane, name-dropping some of his past affiliations, such as his time in the Ministry of Darkness, serving up a reminder to Rollins that he too is a man with a history of violence. This feud is going to be solid on the microphone and in the ring, and we hope it lasts longer than one match at SummerSlam. And be kind to Corbin. Poor pathetic Baron Corbin. It's been a tough time for the former King of the Ring, and things somehow keep getting worse. Once again, Corbin has shown he can take any storyline and make most of it, in this case a string of bad luck that has him suffer various financial failures, resulting in his car being repossessed, his identity stolen, and his attempt to get back on his feet via crowdsourcing site backfiring. Corbin has been portrayed as an arrogant heel for so long, but somehow he's found a way to elicit sympathy not only from fellow wrestlers like Kevin Owens, but from the fans. Baron Corbin has been nothing less than delightful, and while it remains to be seen if Corbin is headed for a run as a babyface, we can't wait for the inevitable rollout of Simpsons memes of Hans Millman getting hit in the groin. But that was good. What about the bad? Well, to be honest, there's nothing bad other than the WWE airing yet another Women's Championship match with Carmella unsuccessfully challenging for the title. At this point, we hope the WWE is going to shake up its women's division with the new call-ups like Toni Storm and use other contenders such as Liv Morgan. So if there was nothing bad, then there's nothing ugly about last night's episode of the Blue Brand. In fact, Smackdown delivered a fantastic follow-up to Money in the Bank, where there was a slow tease of Mr. Money in the Bank Biggie hinting at who he plans on challenging for the title, the ever-entertaining work of Roman Reigns as the Blue Brand's top heel, or the WWE's effective use of wrestlers from mid-carders to main eventers. The Blue Brand continues to be the place for the WWE fans, and there are a number of potentially hot programs for fans to keep their eyes on. What did you guys think of SmackDown this year? Let us know in the comments down below. Now, let's move on to the news. Our first story looks at WWE announcing a New Year's pay-per-view. The WWE is about to make history as it plans on airing its first pay-per-view on New Year's Day. WWE.com released the following. WWE will kick off New Year at State Farm Arena in Atlanta on Saturday, January 1st, 2022, marking the first time in history that a WWE pay-per-view event will be held on New Year's Day. The event will stream live on the night of New Year's Day at 8 PM ET, exclusively on Peacock in the US and on WWE Network everywhere else. The WWE held its New Year's Revolution pay-per-view during the Ruthless Aggression era. This marks another pay-per-view that is being held on a Saturday rather than the traditional Sunday night slot. Next up, Cena's secret match. Our wrestling fans attending SmackDown got a huge bonus when John Cena teamed up with the Mysterios after the show went off the air to take on Roman Reigns and the Usos. The match saw Cena and the Mysterios defeat the Tribal Chief and his allies, and no doubt a good way to entertain the fans and get Cena prepped for his SummerSlam match against Reigns. Rumor has it that Cena and the Mysterios will also team up a few times this summer as the WWE holds its various Cena-centric events billed as the Summer of Cena. Next up, CM Punk is 100% gonna be in Chicago. Okay, now let's face it, we've had so many rumors regarding CM Punk on whether he signed or not, with many sources stating that there is interest in AEW, while others are saying that he has put pen to paper and has signed with the company. And now to fuel even further rumors, Cassidy Haynes of Bodyslam.net is claiming that Punk is 100% gonna be there for AEW Chicago events that run in September. Speaking on the podcast, Haynes mentioned, "I was told he was 100% for Chicago. They want CM Punk to be in Chicago. He's 100% gonna be there, and it's not a matter of if, it's when." Currently, AEW is running 3 events in Chicago. Dynamite on September 1st, Rampage on September 3rd, and the All Out pay-per-view on September 5th. To add even more fuel to the fire, guess who's following Living Color? Yeah, the artist of CM Punk's theme song in the WWE Cult of Personality. All sounds a bit sus, doesn't it? Next up, Kenny Omega talks Punk and Danielson in AEW. And while the wrestling world waits for confirmation of CM Punk and Bryan Danielson signing with AEW, fans are speculating what could happen if the rumors are true. Fans certainly aren't the only people speculating, as seen when AEW and Impact World Champion Kenny Omega appeared on the Wrestling Observer Radio to discuss the situation. The cleaner commented, "There are 2 very different athletes, 2 very different performers. I respect them both. Danielson, I still call him Bryan Danielson. Daniel Bryan, I always knew that he was incredibly intelligent, ridiculously smart, especially related to professional wrestling. For him to create a movement, a legitimate movement with the Yes Movement, he created it." Omega also praised CM Punk. CM Punk, a guy who probably has a different line of thinking than your current day performer and the average performer, and he has this incredible reputation. He has fans to this day who would follow him to the end of the earth. A very dedicated fan base, and that fan base believes he is the best in the world and will be the best until the end of time. If you're able to have people like that who follow your career so passionately, you probably have something very special about you. Omega said he could not confirm either signing and noted AEW President Tony Khan has been tight-lipped about the entire situation. Honestly, at this point in time, he's the only one with an idea. He's been tight-lipped and I prefer it that way. I don't want anything to slip that shouldn't be slipping either. All I can speak on are the possibilities. As we pointed out, it's not in AEW's interest to announce either rumored signing just yet. When it does happen, you can be rest assured AEW will feel it's being utilized to the maximum effect. And finally, does the WWE want CM Punk back? And while it looks like CM Punk has signed with All Elite Wrestling, and keep in mind it hasn't been officially confirmed, fans are curious whether the WWE showed any interest in bringing the straight-edge superstar back to the company he walked down on in 2014. According to a report from Ringside News, the site asked around the possibility that Vince McMahon's company might have interest in bringing back CM Punk after so much attention was brought to him, but we were explicitly told that WWE has no interest in doing business with Punk. Anyone familiar with CM Punk's history in the WWE knows that there are any number of reasons why people backstage and some wrestlers don't want Punk back. Likewise, Punk has plenty of reasons not to go back. Add in the possibility they didn't want to get into a bidding war with AEW, and Punk's uncertainty about the WWE would book him, it's kinda easy to imagine him signing with AEW. But there you have it guys, the good, the bad and the downright ugly from this week's Smackdown, as well as the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know. Be sure to leave your comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.